everybody, and welcome to Le Mans here for the ATRL Christmas Throwback. We've got the LMP1s and the GTEs out there on circuit for what will be an hour-and-a-half race, 90 minutes of racing action. Qualifying will set the grid, and by watching the practice session, it looks like it is gonna be a very fun evening of racing. Tonight we have got absolutely stacked fields in both the LMP1s and the GTEs, with at least 20 drivers in both of the classes. It is going to be an absolutely amazing one as we watch the racing unfold tonight. Now, of course, the LMP1s, the GTEs, well, they're out of service now. It's been a long time since they've given them the light of day on the iRacing service itself. It's will not be very often that we'll see them out in the real world again until they become vintage race cars in the future, where we see the historic Le Mans go out and these end up being the historic Le Mans. But we are out here for a great evening of racing at ATRL. It is going to be a great one, a nice one-off event to celebrate the Christmas period. It is going to be absolutely brilliant to watch. A very well-known circuit, of course. It's come across many different iterations over the years since it was first built over 100 years ago. Now, of course, there are a number of significant changes to slow the circuit down. You've got the Mulsanne straights with the chicanes added in there. You've got the Dunlop chicane at the beginning of the circuit. You have got the Porsche curves, the four chicanes at the end. There's a lot of slowing down that has been introduced around the track to make sure that it's a lot safer to race. Of course, a lot of incidents over the years that have resulted in fatalities, and as always, it is a fatality that changes the course of a racing circuit's and well, the way that it looks, and that's what's happened here tonight. And talking about something that's going to be changing the way that it looks, the Dunlop chicane and the Dunlop bridge, something that has been an absolute statement on this circuit. I think what would argue as being quite controversially is going to be removed and changed, and something that hopefully for us as sim racers we won't see out on the iRacing surface for a very long time, because we like a bit of nostalgia, at least I do anyway, and having that Dunlop chicane, it's going to have to stay that way with the Dunlop bridge, so whatever they're going to do to it, let's just ignore that in the sim for now. It is coming up towards the end of the practice session that drivers are out there doing at the moment. They are going to have half an hour of qualifying to set the best lap times that it possibly can and getting in towards the front of the field. But of course, 90 minutes of racing action. It doesn't mean that this is just going to be a quick, qualifying is going to mean everything. Let's bang it out and let's go and set the fast lap time because we're going to stay at the front. Oh, no. 90 minutes, hour and a half. It is going to add a little bit in there. Drivers are going to need to think more in the long term rather than the short term, of course, in these longer events. And this is the first time that I'm picking up one of these bigger events, and it is the longest race that I would have forecast. So I am really looking forward to this one, just as much as the drivers are looking forward to getting down there and putting in some absolute brilliant lap times in qualifying, getting a really great race in as well. I'm hoping that you guys in chat, whether you're over on the YouTube, over on the Twitch, that you are enjoying. If you are watching over on the Twitch, if you want to see the full quality broadcast tonight, then make sure you head over to the Azz Tech Racing League's YouTube page, and you'll see the quality, the broadcast in full quality. Right. Practice is getting over and done with here. Qualifying is about to begin, and for the first time tonight, I am going to introduce you to the commentary box. Hello and good evening here as we are down on the surface of the iRacing service, of course, here at Le Mans. I've got everything prepared and ready for tonight's event, and looking across at the live timing that I've got up over on the left-hand side, there are some really good names out towards the front and some drivers that are putting in some absolutely smashing lap times. LMP1s, you got Jean Corbs at the front of that one, and he's found a lap time half a second quicker than anyone else, but the only person who's within 1.5 seconds there is Saul Matilla. He is half a second back. The next fastest is Jack James, but he's 1.6 seconds behind that. So it's a bit of a jump there. It's a bit of a gap between those top drivers. But around a circuit that, of course, is taking them over 3 minutes to complete, that half a second, that second, it adds up. It really does. But I think when we're going to see them in the race, they're going to be able to keep a little bit closer. The slipstream's really going to help them, obviously, on the roll staying straight, particularly because they're going to have someone in front of them to support them as qualifying gets underway in the background here. 25 minutes that they're going to get out there. We'll get onto the track very, very shortly, but of course all the drivers, they've got to get themselves out onto the racing surface. They've got to get them all completing an outlap before they can then put in their time. So we'll see those coming around shortly. Mixture, of course, with the GTEs and the LMPs tonight, and the GTEs actually looking like a very nice mixture of machines out there looking to take part. We've got the Porsches, we've got the Fords, we've got the BMWs, we've got the Ferraris, we've got I believe all of the classes that you can. You've got the Chevrolet as well. So yeah, you've got all the classes all the cars you possibly can in the GTE field out there and preparing for this one. And in the LMP field, you got the Audi, you got the Porsche. So all cars that were open to drive tonight, they are all being driven at least once, and most of them a number of times. It's going to be interesting to see which driver finds their way to the front, but also which car is looking to be the strongest around the Le Mans circuit tonight. As qualifying is getting underway in the background here, we will, as I say, jump down onto the track in a moment's time, but it is going to be a very fun evening of racing. So if you are new around here, watching over on the YouTube for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, get those numbers up, and hit the like button on the stream as well. Show your support towards the Azz Tech Racing League and everything that they do, and looking forward to next year as well, all the wonderful championships that they have lined up, of course. And if you are watching over on the Twitch, like I say, you can hit that follow button, but do go across to YouTube. You can see the full quality broadcast over there. And if you want to catch any of the other stuff that I do at my channel, then head across to my YouTube of Joseph Wright TV, and you will find us over there as we've rebranded heading into the new year. Right, let's get ourselves down then on to the iRacing surface for the first time tonight, because drivers are heading around the lap and hoping to get ready to prepare their first times in qualifying. We'll get our music stopped there as we don't need to hear any of that as Dominic Gallo here coming around. Drivers are going to have a little bit of help out there on the surface during the service tonight, because there are 3 quick repairs. So if something does go wrong, drivers are going to be able to jump down to pit lane, very quickly get their car repaired and get back out. All they'll have to wait for, if they've had to tow, is that tow time. If they're able to limp their car down to pit lane, well, they're not going to be down the pit lane for very long, and they might not lose a huge amount of time in what is a 90-minute race. Of course, the LMP ones are going to be the first out there to get in lap times, as they are the much quicker cars around here, but it really is a throwback getting to watch these machines head around the Le Mans circuit. Now, I haven't been I'm not good enough as a driver myself that I don't do a lot of the events out there in iRacing, and therefore I'm still quite low level. I'm still quite far down, so I never got the opportunity to race these machines around the Le Mans circuit. The closest I ever got was watching the races that others were doing, and even though that's all I'm doing now, for the first time I'm able to commentate it and bring it to your screen, so I'm really, really excited about that. As we've got coming up to 20 minutes in the session, we are now getting some purple laps on the board as drivers come around to complete lap times here. But of course, those are not going to be representative at this stage because they count they're coming out of the pit lane on this first lap, which means that we will be seeing lap times coming down a little bit as they find the speed, they find the tyres, and they get their fuel levels a bit lower as well, because the last thing you want to do is head out there and, well, put in too much fuel that you're going to be slow, but also put not enough fuel in that you're going to have to do multiple outlaps, and that's not really what you want to do in such a short qualifying session. We're watching Andy Bootland here. He is currently 6th fastest in class in that LMP1 category. Of course, it's not the only class out there. There are the GTEs as well, and it's going to be something I need to stick in my brain. It's the GTEs, not the GT3s heading out there. And we are currently watching Gabriel Rook here. He sits in 11th position, and he'll be looking to try and find a little bit of time out there. He's 2nd fastest in class at the moment. His last lap time coming in just shy of 4 minutes here, and we will get the standings up on your left-hand side in a moment once we've got a few more names on the board, because right now there's not too many names up there at the moment, but Jonas Webber is the fastest of the P1 drivers. Adam State is the fastest of the GT drivers as it stands. This is Sarah Dove running around in the Ford, and what a machine this is, and it is so upsetting that we don't get to see this wonderful, wonderful machine tearing it up around the circuits anymore, because it is an absolutely beautiful looking car. In fact, all of the GTEs in here tonight and the LMP1s, all of them are just so beautiful. And I think that as time gets more and more progressive, we obviously think about, you know, the cars from 50, 60 years ago, about how good looking some of those are. Well, these are falling into that nostalgic, good looking machines. And the Ford GT is, for me, this has been there for, well, since I was growing up. It's a car that I did watch countless times in races, so it's nice to see it back out there again here at Le Mans. And Sarah Dove behind the wheel of that one, coming through the final chicanes. Let's see what she is able to do as we come across the line. Let's get ourselves our timing tower at that as well, as Dove does come across the line. We'll just have to wait for a moment as it pops up. It's good enough for 8th position in class, and let's get that showing class instead of overall. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So a nice time for Sarah Dove, though, 8th in class right now. Lewis Mason goes 4th in the LMP1s at the front right now, and moves quite nicely past Dibben and Pogue. That being said, Tony Dibben just decides, actually, I will take that position back, thank you very much, and I'll get another one with that. He moves up into 3rd in class at the moment. And Webber once more getting a purple lap. Was beaten to it by Saul Mattila, but Mattila dropping back behind with Webber's latest lap time, and through the Dunlop chicanes and under the Dunlop bridge. And a nice start to the lap there for Webber. Riley Pogue out there at the moment as well, looking to get in a good lap time. He was pretty quick during the practice session. He was leading that practice session for a little bit of time as well. So he'll be hoping to find something around there, as he currently is in 9th, but will want to do a bit more with that. A number of drivers towards the back without lap times at the moment includes Jean Corbs, who sits without a lap time but was the fastest in practice. So let's see how this goes at the moment as we head up towards the last section on the circuit. And this is one of those sections that was installed after the 1955 Le Mans disaster, of course. Used to going straight on there, but not anymore. We turn off to the curves, through the Porsche curves you go, getting that curving on the inside, pushing it nice and wide as we run through, and then trying to keep it tight. It switches back once more. Very easy to push it a bit too hard there, run off the circuit. You're not going to do that in qualifying because it will invalidate your lap time, but we're up to the final chicanes now. Want to get through these as quickly as possible, not take too much of the curbing, get nice and slowed down for the very end there. And what will this do? Like I said, it was fastest for Jan during the practice session. Where will it put him now? It puts him good enough for 11th, but that doesn't look like a representative lap time for him, so he will be going out there once again to try and improve as we drop down to the GTE class once more and have a look at Spez here, who is coming across the line, and Philip Spez looking to put in his first lap time on the board, but he starts up now running towards turn number 1, the heavy braking zone there as we go into the Dunlop chicane and away from the permanent race course. Of course, turn off right there, you head across to the Bugatti circuit, but we're not staying on the nice short Bugatti circuit. We move out towards the open roads, now closed off, of course, for the racing. We don't want to see any trucks or anything running around here whilst we're trying to race, so we do stop that from happening, which is nice. Spez heading on to the Mulsanne Straight then here at Le Mans, looking to see what he can do in his BMW, the GTE class. They sound great, they look great, and they're flying down Mulsanne Straight right now as the LMP1 category currently being led by Julian Metzner, who has moved past Webber at the very top of the standings there. Down in the GTE class, it is being led by Ali Afshar right now, a whole second clear of Adam State, who in himself is another 1.5 seconds faster than Sean Crisham, who sits in 3rd position. It is quite a large gap between some of those positions there, but when you've got a circuit as long as this, it is to be expected, and we will see the racing with the slipstream really come into effect when we go into the race session, of course. It is a closed qualifying session, which means they aren't getting a tow from anyone else. They haven't got any other drivers to worry about out there, which is going to be nice for Philip Spez as he's going to come on towards the braking zone once more. And a very tricky braking zone if you push it just a bit too hard, because you're already on the brakes as you start to turn in. You've got to get it closed. Slow down enough, don't want to run off the circuit and invalidate your lap, and especially on a circuit this long, there are a number of off-tracks pinging up on my session events screen, and I think that's quite tough when you've got a circuit this long, because if you get an off-track, especially early doors onto the lap, you've got to go another 3 minutes, and for the GTEs, almost 4 minutes to get yourself around and put in another lap, well, to start another lap time. It'll be, by the time you get around, about 7-8 minutes of waiting from when you invalidated your lap. Spez gets down nice and slow. You can hear the engine just rumbling there as we go down slow as Jan Korbs goes fastest overall by half a second. He was fastest in the practice session. He goes fastest in the qualifying session, and the top 3 drivers right now in the P1s are all German drivers. Jan, Julian and Jonas there sitting in the top 3. Saul Mattilla is in 4th right now. Riley Pogue is the man that rounds out the top 5 in the LMP1s with another 12 minutes or so of qualifying left to go. The GTE class being led still by Ali Afshar, Adam State, Sean Shisham. Marcin Junk sits in 4th, but with an exact same lap time as Gabriel Roop there, and I think that is that's something. We were saying that some of the bigger gaps were to be expected as Spez crosses the line. Where will it go for him? It's 4th fastest in the session, and at the same time Quinten Verdonk goes on to pole position. So Verdonk decides that he wants to find a bit extra time out there and places it on provisional pole. But yeah, I was saying earlier about how there was some big gaps out there, which is to be expected around a lap time, especially in the GTEs. That is 3 minutes and 45 seconds as the fastest as Webber goes back to the top in the P1s. But between the two of them, they are identical on lap times, which is absolutely crazy. Jack James finds a significant amount of time. He moves into second as well. But this just showing that every single lap, the drivers are just flipping positions. I mean, you had your top five. Riley Pogue was rounding out your top five about a minute, 2 minutes ago. He's down to 9th now. That's showing how quickly it switches around. Lewis Mason has pulled off to the side. Dominic Gallo comes up towards the end as Julian Metzner now retakes pole position. Can Corbs do something as Gallo pulls across to the side? James Smagglesgale is sitting in 17th right now. 5 seconds off of the pace. That's just showing drivers that are used to these cars, drivers that are still learning these cars. But also, it is a lap time of over 3 minutes. It is to be expected that we'll have those big gaps as Jean Corbs looking to improve on his personal best at the moment. The top 5 in the P1 separated by just half a second right now. What can Jean do as he heads up towards the final chicane and looking to move any higher than he currently is? Fastest in practice. Will he repeat that feat in qualifying? Gets it slowed down nicely for the final chicane. Gets it across the line. Will it be an improvement for Jean Corbs? It won't, as it was an outlap on the end for Corbs. So it was a valid lap of a 3:16, but coming out of pit lane means that he won't improve on that one. We'll keep an eye on him as he heads around. Andrew Pike sits in 8th position right now, 3/10 behind Junk and Root, who are tied in their best lap, but Junk setting it first places him in 6th at the moment. All of your LMP1 drivers have put in a valid lap. That is 21 drivers that are going to be heading out in the LMP1 field. In your GTE field, we have 5 drivers who are yet to set a lap time, and that'll be 22 GTE drivers if they are all to get lap times in, but they all sure to start as Pike pulls down pit lane. Corbs is back out there looking to move up on his time right now as we head up towards the second chicane along the Molstane Straight, as he is currently 5th position, but half a second separating the top 5 and the top 3 right now, all in the Porsche. Now, is the Porsche going to be the more dominant car? I mean, you've got the next 3 being Audis. You can't see the same sort of dominance in the GTEs because the top 4 are all different machines. A Ferrari, the Chevrolet, the BMW and the Ford. We then see 2 Beamers and then the first of the Porsches down in 7th. So the Porsche's looking to be faster in the LMP1 field than it does in the GTE field. What can this be here from Corbs? Will it be an improvement on his personal best lap so far? With 7 minutes on the clock, drivers will be wanting to come out within the next couple of minutes to put in their final laps of the session. But as it stands, most of the field are down pit lane. Most of the field are not out there putting in any more laps, but Jean Corbs is. He's going to come through the Porsche curves and see if he can move any higher up than 5th position right now, coming through the end of the circuit, getting it, pushing it hard as he gets to the curbing on the inside, pushing it right to the outside, keeping it still on the circuit though. That's why Pike decided to drive down pit lane when we were watching him, is because he invalidated the lap. right towards the end as Claus comes through the final chicane. Will it be an improvement? It's a 309.939 to beat. It's a 309.597 as Lewis Mason has pulled off to the side. Here is James Smaggersgale. He is looking to do something from 13th right now. He was 5 seconds off the pace. He's now down to 4.5. And bearing in mind, Claus has just gone an extra 0.4 faster. He has found about a second on his personal best when we saw him earlier on. Can he find his way inside the top 10 by the end of this? As again, most drivers are not out there on the circuit. Jack Southfield is one of the only drivers out there who has not yet set a lap time that is out on track. Jack Southfield currently on his way out of pit lane, running in the Porsches. 4 of the drivers yet without a lap time are running the Porsches. One of them driving the BMW. That's Artem Savos, Svazov, who is running the BMW. I do apologise if I get names incorrect tonight, and I hope I do my best at pronouncing them, as we've got Lewis Mason is just sat on the side. There is Smaggersgale goes across the timing line. He pulls over to the side. Will it be an improvement? It will be an improvement. A 13.682 for him, but it is not enough to find anything with that. Lucas Chatterton is waiting to go on to his lap as well, but also not coming out right now. Ali Ashar is out there. He's the fastest GTE driver at the moment, is Ashar. He's looking to find even more time. 7/10 in the clear right now. Sarah Dove is third fastest out there, but 2.4 seconds off the pace. It looks like Adam States and Ali Ashar are going to have a little GTE battle at the front if they can get away from this one nice and clean. As we head through towards the end of the lap for Sean Chisholm. Chisholm's currently sitting in 4th, less than a 1/10 of a second behind Sarah Dove. So we'll be wanting to try and improve on that one. Of course, drivers could come out of the pit lane now and set one final lap time in, but it will not be representative because of the cold tyres. So it will be Chisholm being one of the last few to get lap times in. We've got William Kurtler out there still trying to put in lap times. Alexander Yoon, Gregor Lequette. And then, like I said, Jack Southfield is also out there at the moment without a lap time, but looking to put one in. And if he does, it means he will, even if he doesn't get in a very representative lap time, he will still get 18th position. Sean Chisholm wanted... I'm going to come down pit lane. Actually, no, I'm going to go one more time around, as Chisholm's thought there, as Jack Southfield comes across the line and goes 12th. So his one and only lap time out there is good enough for 12th position, as Sean Chisholm is one of the last drivers. He is the last driver to be running around and putting in some sort of lap together right now, as that means, for the most part then, I would say that we can see what our grid is going to be like on the left-hand side. We will do a complete run-through of the grid once we get gridded up and ready to start the race. But right now, Sean Chisholm is the only driver out there, which means that nobody else is going to be able to improve on their lap times. And it's going to be dependent on whether the session cuts straight off or whether they Chisholm will have time to finish his lap, or depending if he could move any higher than 4th. Like I'm saying, he's less than a 10th off of Sarah Dove right now. That gap is just 0.072 of a second. He will remain on the second row in class, but he could get past Sarah Dove and have one less car to worry about on a potential hunt towards the very front of the field. This session, though, almost over as we tick across to 9 o'clock here in the UK. 90 minutes of racing action will prepare. The drivers will be preparing for that in a moment's time, as I just pop across and have a look to see at some of these, the comments the drivers are sending to each other. Very much good luck messages to everyone, and then also talking about how some of the drivers out there are extremely rapid, and I think that is very clear to see. And one of the questions there being asked, can the LMP1 change tyres and refuel at the same time? The answer to that is no, which will decide the session the stints and the strategy being played here, because surely with you not being able to refuel up and do the tyres at the same time, you'd just want to do the fuel. These tyres definitely would be able to do the whole 90-minute race without any issues, so it will definitely be just a fuel stop, I believe. As we do tick to the end of qualifying, are we going to get any extra time on the board? We are not, which means that we have got our grid set, and we will have a look at how the grid is going to start here. Some very, very quick lap times out there on the field. And for the hour and a half of racing that we have ahead of us, Jean Corbs is going to start from pole position, a 3:09.597 from him. Julian Metzner will start alongside on second position. Jonas Weber will start in third ahead of Jack James. Quinton Verdonk will start in fifth, and Tony Dibden will be in sixth position for this one. Seventh position will go the way of Saul Matilla. Catalin Florin Mew will start in eighth position. Ninth position will go the way of Riley Pogue. Stephen Dunn will start in 10th position. I mean, that's the top 10, and we're already at a 3.2 second gap. That's showing how mega those laps were at the very front. Andy Bootland will start in 11th ahead of Lewis Mason. 13th will go to James Smagglesgale, and then Melvin Gack will start in 14th. Dominic Gallo will start in 15th position ahead of Benjamin Massey. Matteo Lemere will start in 17th ahead of Lucas Chatterton in 18th place. 19th will go the way of Mark Murphy. Toby Deck will start in 20th, and Flip Van Zyl will round out the LMP1 field. 21 drivers out there in the on the racing surface here for the LMP1s. We now look at the GTE field, which is going to be led away from pole from Ali Ashar. Second in class will be Adam State ahead of Sarah Dove. Fourth in class is Sean Shisham ahead of Philip Spez. Then comes Martin Junk and Gabriel Roop. Andrew Pike will be 8th in class ahead of Jesus Saavedra. And then Luca Monroe will round out the top 10 in your GTE field. Alexander Hume will start on 11th ahead of Jack Southfield. Matthias Peitinger will start in 13th position ahead of Mauricio Marcos Ramos. Eric Johnson will start in 15th position. 16th will go the way of Gregory Locquette. William Kurtler in 17th ahead of Andrew Manning. Sander Blau will start in 19th position ahead of Aidan Coleman. Ivan Trebetskov will start in 21st. And Artem Sazsov will start at the rear of the field for this one. It is going to be an absolutely brilliant event with 90 minutes on the board. The drivers are going to be ready for this one. I hope we are in the broadcasting booth and you guys are as well. 43 cars are out there as we have 21 LMP1s, 22 GTEs. And it's going to be led by Jean Corbs at the front ahead of Julian Metzner. Of course, the GTE field following just behind. They are going to leave just a little bit of a gap here to try and do something from there. But we jump across then to the leaders of the LMP1s and see how they get this race underway and started here. The pace car will pull off after the first chicane, of course. The leaders settling themselves in single file for the start of this one. The pace car is off. Jan Corbs in control of this race. We head out the final corner and he's launched early. We are away here at Le Mans for 90 minutes of throwback action as we head up across the timing line. A few drivers trying to get early positions here, but we will have a look at how the GTEs fare on their way out of pit lane, and a very nice start once more for the race leader in the GTE field as they all get going. It is a little bit of smoke from the LMPs ahead as we saw a few drivers just having issues towards the back of that train of drivers, but this is the train of drivers that is currently leading the LMP1 field. 5 drivers pull away from the start here, and we are going to have to try and keep an eye on some of the positions, particularly in the GTE field, as we have a annoying timing bug at the moment. We will try to get that fixed early doors though once the race settles down. Benjamin Massey leading ahead of Melvin Gack. That's in 14th and 15th in class. We can just see drivers going for positions as James Smagglesgale moves past Andy Bootland. That's for 15th position. More overtaking opportunities in the background as that's Matteo Lemeray going quite slowly in that field as Adam State leads the GTs, and there's issues with a Ford into the wall. Ali Ashar has lost it down to second in class, but the GTE field running side by side at the front here. This is the fight for the lead of the GTE field. In fact, this what now is side by side for the podium. Junk is looking to try and hold on ahead of Roop and Chesham behind. Certainly does as they somehow settle themselves down without incident there, and they all get through the second of the chicanes, and it is a meatball flag for Philip Spez on the opening lap of this race, as once again just getting a few timing issues that we will get sorted out here and a couple of laps once they have all settled themselves down, as this is going to be Catalina Miu running around trying to get the inside line to work. It won't quite, no, it was on the outside. It won't quite work out with Mattila on the inside there and holding on to what is now 8th position in class here as they come to end the first lap of racing action. And Melvin Gack also with a meatball flag in your LMP1 field means that there are a couple of issues on the opening lap of this race, but like I said, there are a couple of issues with timing here that we are going to get fixed momentarily so that we can get the live timing on the left hand side for you so you can see how it is all going for the drivers, as this is done right behind Mason there, jumping over the curbing from both of them that they wouldn't have wanted as done, comes out of the final turn. Side by side action ahead as Miu goes to make the move back past Mattila once more and has done so. Done getting a good amount of speed there as Smagglesgale and Mason running rather slowly on that opening part of the lap, but with one lap done, it is Jean Corbs leading the way in the LMP1s. It is Adam State leading the way in the GTEs. That was Julian Metzner giving up position to Jonas Weber and to Jack James as well, both being teammates there. You wonder what game is at play, but we are going to quickly fix our timing issues here, so give us one moment whilst we sort this out. I do apologise here. Back in 1 second. We are back here and we're hoping that our timing issues will have resolved, but we are not confident at the moment, but we are going to be able to get up our timing tower nonetheless. You can see how the LMP1s are faring at the moment as they continue to lead out the way at the front of this field, being led by Jean Corbs. The GTE field, we do apologise, but those timings on the left-hand side aren't going to be completely accurate as it stands, as we're having issues getting the whole field loaded in, even though we do have those settings applied, so we're not quite sure there. But this is Stephen Dunn on the rear end of Lewis Mason right now, looking to see if there could be potentially a move there. They were quite close as they were heading out, but they are not going to stay that way as they continue to head through. It's about well, do you know what? My timing is showing very interestingly that Stephen Dunn, it was just a tenth of a second behind Lewis Mason, which is not the case up until the point they got through onto the braking zone. So I'm really not sure what's going on with our live timing here. So we really do apologise for any of those issues, as Miu is chasing down Saul Matilla now. That's for 8th and 9th position, looking like there might be a potential overtake in that fight. But it is the front of the LMP1 field that is interesting to look at right now, because those drivers are incredibly close together as they run through. And you can see by the liveries a number of teammates up at the front there working together to see if something could happen as an LMP1 working their way through this GTE field. That's Melvin Gack trying to find a way up the order. You're going to see some issues on our live timing up at the P1s now as we jump down to the GTEs. But it is going to be Gabriel Roop running around in 3rd position right now. Adam State has done a great job to pull away at the very front of this field as that's off the circuit there in the background. Who was that? Is it a back marker off the track? Yes, it is a back marker, I believe, off the track there. Or was it Roop himself? It was Roop running off the circuit, going extremely deep. We saw that happen for just a moment there in the background when we jumped up towards the front of the field. Let's have a look at how Gabriel Roop managed to do that. It looks like it's just late on the brakes and having to go straight on, locking up the brakes, gets on the gravel, keeps it out of the tyre wall, crucially there, which is really important. Meatball flag for Matteo Lemeray as Adam State is about to be overtaken by Melvin Gack here. And through goes that fight as we'll jump back towards the leaders of this race up in the LMP1 field, and we get that LMP1 standings sorted out for you there. I really don't know what that issue is, because we haven't had this issue in a very long time with a large field. So I do apologise, and we are going to do our best to keep you up to date on all of the position changes as we are looking at a position change right now in this fight at the very front as Jack James gets past Julian Metz and moves into 2nd position as my entire timing is just heavily delayed at that as well as I'm looking here. It's about 10 seconds behind, and I really don't know why. So we are, for the time being, just going to see if we can fix some of those issues and just hide that for the moment as we continue to watch this large field of drivers head around. And I think I might know one of the issues, and if you're watching over on the Twitch page, then please do head across to the YouTube, because the Twitch stream is going to end now on that one, as I believe that is part of the issue that is going on in the background, but hopefully will fix at least some of the timing issues that we are having right now, with Jean Corbs out front by 4 seconds ahead of James Metzner is running around in 3rd and has Verdonk just behind. Verdonk will be looking to try and get into this podium position if possible as we head through now and up towards the final chicane. Verdonk running behind Metzner by just about a tenth of a second right now, wanting to try and make that move through, and we'll have a little look. You can see about 3-4 tenths of a second separate them as we head across the timing line once more, and we're going to see if we can get the LMP1 field at the very least on the left-hand side for you, so you can see how that is looking as it stands. And we will jump down to the GTE field momentarily as the LMP1s have actually sort of sorted themselves out here. There's a few cars still going for positions as Riley Pogue was moving past Mattila. Mattila staying ahead of Mew once more, as Mattila and Mew have been in this fight since the start of this race. And Mew looks towards the inside, couldn't quite get through there, but now swings to the left-hand side, has a lot of speed, fly past Mattila, and looking to get back past Riley Pogue as well. Pogue left on his own on the right as Catalin moves to that right-hand side of the circuit. Are we going to go 3 wide into chicane? We are certainly not. Pogue is going to remain side by side though with Mattila, as Mattila has to cut the corner to stay on the track there. And those gaps will remain relatively similar in their distance now. And we're going to give this another go with our live timing and hope for the best now that I think I may have solved at least part of our issue with the timing. Not all of the issue, but we will try our best to keep an eye on that one as Ali Ashar running around still in second position in class. It is Adam State ahead, 3 seconds clear right now. Jack Southfield is holding on to 4th, and Southfield was one of the drivers that didn't get in a lap time until the very end of the session in qualifying, put in only 1 lap time, got on 12th in class, has moved up 8 positions as it stands, and has moved into 4th in class, which is absolutely mental as we jump back towards the LMP1s. And we are heading up to about 15 minutes completed in this race out of an hour and a half, and Jean Corbs continues to lead over Julian Metzer. Quinton Verdonk being one of the bigger movers in the LMP1 field and moving for the moving through for to 3rd position. He's up a couple of places from 5th on the grid. He'll be wanting to get past Julian Metzner here. Metzner is running 4.8 seconds off the leader. Verdonk running 4.9 off of the leader himself, and there's only a couple of tenths of a second behind Metzner. Of course, these very fast machines means a couple of tenths of a second is significant in looking at. It's up to 7 tenths as they head up towards the final chicane here, as we jump down to Stephen Dunn, who's running around very nicely in 10th position right now, and a couple others fights out there that could turn into something, but it is Jonas Weber who sits at the very back of a train of drivers that goes from 6th position up to 2nd position in the LMP1s, heading onto the brakes for the Dunlop chicane, and out of there we go. And looking at this leading fight, I think this is going to last quite some time. We saw the top 5 in qualifying all within half a second of each other before Corbs put in his lap time. They ended up being within a second of each other, and that really does impact in the race here. You've got the slipstream, you're using your energy to the right levels, you're deploying where you need to, and you're doing exactly what you need to do. We can see some very interesting gaps form, some interesting gaps close, as well as Weber falls down 1.5 seconds back off this lead fight now, which is being led by Julian Metzner. Quinton Verdonk in 3rd position in this race. Jack James in 4th position right now, and looking to try and do something with this train of drivers, pull away, get through, whatever they might be doing at the top of this field here, to try and do the best that they possibly can in the early stages of this race. But right now, for a few of them, it's just trying to keep up with the cars in front of them, not let them go. That will be the case for Jonas Webber, for Tony Dibden as well. And I would say that Jack James falling a little bit off of Verdonk at the front. Verdonk chasing down Metzner, and very close between them at the moment. But you can see there are gaps just not really displaying correctly, and I have no idea why, because this is an issue I have never seen before with the gaps. But the LMP1s now finding their way to the GTE field and to the back of that GTE field, and just going to get their way through as quickly and as cleanly as they possibly can. And that being said, not cleanly done there for Dibden. It was issues trying to clear the GTEs in front of him as we head towards the braking zone of Indianapolis. It was where it occurred. You can see the cars ahead of him getting past the GTEs. One's off and around, and it's a GT into a wall. That's what it is, and Dibden does a very, very good job of avoiding, and I believe that may have been Benjamin Massey potentially going on. No, because Massey is in an LMP3. It was Andrew Manning the second that went around into that wall ahead of Tony Dibden, and that has meant that the field of drivers is now opened up a little bit. A couple of cars are going to be coming down at pit lane as it stands, but it is going to be the drivers at the front that we are caring about, because they are still trying to dispatch past the GTE field right now. Verdonk goes to the right. James was to the left. Was to the left, because Verdonk is the driver chasing down, and GTE right in front of them, but it stays all clean. And Verdonk also gets through, as that's Dibden in the background, trying to get past a little bit cleaner this time without all of the issues that he was experiencing before. An hour and 13 minutes left on this clock as the drivers in the P1s come across the GTE field for the first time. And talking of the GTE field, Adam State continues to lead that field. He's up into the lead of that class ahead of Ali Afshar. Afshar is only 1.6 seconds back now, so it's not out of this by any means, as Gabriel Roop is pushing Andrew Pike along the Mulsanne Straight, decides not to go for an overtake into the second chicane, and remains all behind as we come through off the circuit. There goes Pike, carrying a bit of speed. Roop having to leave the door open there for a LMP1 making the overtake through, and that will affect these battles that are going on in that class right now. But it is the battle for third in the LMP1 class that is making their way past the GTEs at the moment, as James ducks up the inside of the Porsche. Verdonk gets it on the exit, but James does get the smoother run out of the corner and pulls a little bit away as we watch through the letterbox. That is the LMP1 front windscreen. We head up now to where we saw some issues between the GTEs and the LMP1 last lap, with a crashing GTE causing a bit of havoc, but it stays all clean this time. Verdonk still very close to the rear end of James in their fight. James has got the advantage now. Verdonk has to remain behind and will lose a little bit of time in that fight, but will not be worrying too much. We've still got an hour and 11 minutes on the clock as the fights continue to run along here. Jesus Saavedra and is running around now in the with a battle actually just in front of him. That's Sarah Dove behind Sander Bloor here, running in 26th and 27th overall. They are 8th and 9th in class, and Sarah Dove running in that very beautiful Ford GT has a P1 passing, another P1 chasing down, some smoke ahead, as I believe Bloor went into the wall. Even if it was just a little scrape, it's enough to kick up a whole heap of smoke there as Sarah Dove disappears, and that is not due to us not being near, because we were watching. Maybe issues for Sarah Dove, which would be a shame if that was the case. But Andrew Pike is running around in 6th behind Gabrielle Root here. As note, Dove has returned back, but has lost a huge amount of positions. Was battling with Blore and has dropped all the way down from 8th to 11th. So I believe she slowed down a bit when she has disappeared to ensure there's no instance with anyone else. As Alexander Yoon came down pit lane, received a black flag. So we'll need to serve that one before he's able to really focus any more on the race ahead of him. Jonas Weber is sitting in 7th, and the gaps at the front of this field now between each of the LMP1 drivers have opened up a bit as they have contended with the GTE machines. We head up towards the chicane, the second chicane, as they come out of the first one. Weber looking to try and get a distant tow from Mattila here. Mattila getting a much closer tow from Tony Dibden. Jack Southfield has just repaired his car and got that meatball flag done and over with. Of course, 3 quick repairs in this race for drivers. Another driver that has served the quick repair in the LMP1 field is James Smagglesgale, who's had to come down pit lane already, as with Melvin Gack, both of them having the quick repairs to hand, and it means that they're up the order just well, they're back out there at least and not behind any of the GTEs. They follow along with the LMPs at the moment. Mattila still chasing down Dibden here, looking like there could potentially be a move coming up if Saul Mattila can get a good amount of power, good amount of tow, but the gap right now just a little bit too big from the rear end of Tony Dibden. As we watch here, they come through Indianapolis, where we saw some issues earlier on and some good avoidance from Dibden himself, as we head now towards the end of the lap once more, and we're approaching the 1/3 distance with half an hour completed. We'll be seeing drivers pit for fuel before the end of this one, but are they going to try and split this race in half, or are they going to go as far as they possibly can on a heavy tank of fuel and go all the way until they just need to top up towards the end? That's the question. It's another strategy decision that needs to be made, as Asha running slowly there compared to the LMP1s, but running very quickly compared to Adam State, and we could see an overtake for the lead of the GTEs as they continue to run around, but the LMP1s deciding to get involved, slowing up Ashar just enough that he is no longer on the rear end of Adam State. He is going to be looking for a good exit here. Of course, the Chevrolet leading the way in the GTE field, the Ferrari chasing behind. It's a BMW in 3rd, but a huge amount of time back to Marcin Junk in 3rd position, 15 seconds in fact. And we did see Adam State and Ali Asher running at the front of this field very, very quickly and qualifying and being a significant amount of time ahead of the rest. So it's not surprising we're seeing these two out to the front. And it's not surprising we are seeing these two fight out. We said that there was potential to be a battle between these two, a class of their own, and they certainly are right now, as Asher once again closes back the time towards Adam State here, and be looking to try and find the speed as we head up towards the Mulsanne Straight. This right-hander being re-profiled after the 2013 fatal incident, of course, and it's just made it a little bit tighter as the radius of the corner became a bit tighter to slow down the drivers just a little bit. It also introduced an opportunity to add a bit more of a gravel space, but here comes Ashar to the back of State. You can hear him lifting off before we get to the chicane though. Is this going to be the play from Ali Afshar? In a long race like this, strategy does come in. And is it going to be a little bit of fuel saving going on from the man in second in the GTE field? Let's find out as we head up to the second chicane. Is he going to go for the move? He's going to lift off. He lifted off a little bit once again. He did. So once again, Ashar will remain behind, and that is the choice that Ali Ashar is making at this stage in the race, is to just stay in second position to the Britishman of Adam State, and the Turkish driver doing a great job to hold on to second. The Polish driver of Marcin Junk doing great to run around in third position as well. It's double Germans out the front of the P1 field though, as Metzner only 1.6 off of Jan Korbs right now. It's 4 seconds back to the Brits on the final position on the podium of Jack James, and that has become incredibly closer out at the very front between Jan Korbs and Julian Metzner as they head up towards the end of this lap. This could be potentially a move from Metzner here to move into the lead ahead of Korbs, but is it going to be similar to that fight that we are seeing down in the GTE field, with Metzner just deciding to stay behind? He dropped back during the chicane. He'll get past the Porsche in the GTE class, heading up towards the first chicane on the lap. Pushing it nicely on the exit, maintaining about half a second's gap here between Korbs and Metzner as they continue to run around first and second in this race. We're approaching the half of an hour completed range and third of the way done, and heading in towards the final hour of racing. Lewis Mason gets past Tony Dibden, or is that just another timing thing? No, it does look like Dibden has had an issue potentially. Dibden's down pit lane, that's what's going on here. 27 minutes in, it's a quick repair as well for Tony Dibden. Has there been potential issues for Dibden pitting early in this one? But getting that quick repair done as well. So Tony Dibden out of pit lane now, and Verdonk is looking at a potential move past Saul Matilla for position 4 in this race. Was quite close behind, but won't turn into anything there in this fight that is currently ongoing as we head up now towards the second chicane along the Mulsanne Straight, with Verdonk chasing down Saul Matilla. Matilla has had a very good start to this race, up 3 positions from the beginning of this one, and as the racing continues here, I think we're getting a little bit better with some of our timing. So I'm hoping that it's not all very accurate as much as we would have hoped for still, but I do believe it is a bit better for us, so we can keep a better idea on both of the classes. And talking about both of the classes, they both have a fight for the lead in the race, of course, and currently being led by Jan Korbs in the LMP1s. Julian Metzner chasing in behind is Adam State and Ali Asher, who are leading the way in the GTE field, although the timing screens do temporarily say that they aren't leading that, as Verdonk once again behind Matilla here. Is Verdonk also looking at potentially trying to save a little bit of fuel, just sticking behind Matilla, or is he just not able to find that speed? Matilla clears the GTE, Verdonk clears the GTE, and they are both up and through in that one as I try to catch up with some more of the P1 field. It looks like we might have a number of cars just not showing correctly for us. Are they down and out? I think we might have a number of cars actually down and out of this race, and not a timing issue. They are just genuinely down the position, as Verdonk has made the move past Matilla. And how has Verdonk managed to do that? Because Matilla was quite a way ahead. Has it been a mistake from Matilla? Potentially, I think it has. A slow exit And it is just going to be a move, looks to the inside, gets the overlap. Mattila already behind, and Verdonk just gets that position. So a nice, easy move there as Metzner once again on the rear end of Corpso. Is he going to try and make this move through, or is he going to stay behind? He stays behind. Fuel saving at the front of both of the fields right now, and it looks like we have said we have actually said goodbye to a couple of drivers, and not just due to timing issues as we jump towards the rear of the field to see who else is running out there. I believe we have said goodbye to Riley Pogue, Melvin Gack, Jack Southfield, and Matteo Lemeray. Now that's really a shame for Southfield because he had moved up 8 positions at the start of this one from his qualifying spot. So it is a shame that he wasn't able to maintain that, and he's gone down and out of this race in the first third of it. But yep, I do believe that the timing screens that are saying now out are accurate with their out statements. They are no longer a timing glitch. The only issue that I now have with my timing will no longer affect you guys. It should only affect me at the most part of it. James Smagglesgale is the rear of the LMP1 field that is still running out there, I believe. No, Toby Deck it will now be, because Deck has just come down pit lane, actually just exiting pit lane along with a number of other LMP1s as through goes James Smagglesgale there and up to 17th position. So yeah, a number of positions gained for drivers out there as the pit stops coming into play here. Half an hour into this race, drivers have decided to come down pit lane and take a pit stop for the final hour of racing. And we've got Matteo Lemeray down in the chat out of this race, which is a shame for him in that first stage of the race, as we didn't quite catch what happened there. So if you want to let us know, then do so in the chat, and we can talk about it. So Verdonk looking once again to get back past Mattila, because they've swapped over once more. And I think Verdonk wants to be behind more than anything here, because he got past Mattila and he's back behind again. I think it is an option to stay behind, save that fuel, just like Metzner is. Because even if they come down pit lane on the same lap, which ultimately you're going to want to do because of the tow. Oh, as that's off the circuit though goes Mattila. That will be a slowdown for Mattila. Will Verdonk stay behind or make the move through? It looks like he'll stay behind. But it does mean that when he comes down pit lane, they're saving the fuel here. They are going to have a bit of better luck with their timings, as through to the side goes Mattila there, and Mattila backing off. Is that letting go for some of the timing issues? But of course, you're saving fuel. You're going to need to fill up less fuel, even if you come in on the same lap. And you can confirm that the out statements are correct. That is good to know. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate those confirmations, as the timing gets a bit weird over here with so many cars out there on the field. Of course, it's sometimes a bit of a struggle to keep up with all of them. 42 cars started this race, and it is 38 cars that continue to run around right now, as Julian Metzner still remains behind Shan Corbs. Look how close he is, but just does not go for that move, which is going to definitely be a fuel-saving strategy here. And it was being sent to Jupiter's lower orbit during the start of the race by Gallo. And then, unfortunately, collecting James on the pit entry, which is why James Smagglesgale had to come down pit lane. And that was on, what lap did you say that was? Lap 2. Let's see if we can find the incident that occurred on lap 2. If we were watching you at that point, then we very possibly could have done. Scrolling. There's so much that happened on lap 1. Right, we're on lap 2 here. Let's see if we can find out what's happening. There's a TTE around in the background. It is a Beamer that slides their way through, but very fortunately out of the way here and not going to be involved too much in that incident. Let's see if we can. It does say here that there is an accident, but I think this is just where we wait and watch something else occurring at that time. Let's have a look. Or this could potentially be. Oh no, I think it might just be where we were watching something else occurring at the time. That's a big old switch ahead of him, ahead of Lemoray. That was the fight going on, and I don't know where. It says that you may have crashed in this one, but apparently you may have crashed. Are we going to see the crash? I mean, we were 30 seconds before the crash, but it's side by side once more ahead as we head up towards it. It's after Mulsanne. This potentially could be where it's occurred then as we watch through. We continue to watch here. It's after Mulsanne. Here we go. Is it through potentially Indianapolis as we head through? Oh, a big old wobble there. There's the contact. Front of the rear wing. Absolutely damaged from that one after the contact. We're going to jump back a moment and watch that. And whoa, whoa, a big old hop there from that one. Whoa, what was that? Let's watch from Lemoray here on board. This is what occurred in this fight. Black flag for Jean Corbs, the race leader. Black flag for the race leader, Jean Corbs, who's come down pit lane, I believe. I think it's a speed into pit lane, and it is. It's a big old hop there. But a real shame for Mathieu Lemoray coming out of pit lane and getting involved in that accident. But Jean Corbs has had a black flag, and it looks like it is from coming down pit lane here. How has he entered pit lane? Because pit lane entry means a lot here. That black flag has been served, but for Jean Corbs, he's going to have had to have served that before he did the pit stop itself, which means that the drivers in front, well, that were just behind him, Metzner, for example, are going to have a huge advantage here. Yeah, he didn't get the pit limiter on. You heard him get back onto the throttle, and he did not get the pit limiter back on. So Jean Corbs here, a big penalty. And down to 7th in this race. That promotes Jack James up into 2nd behind his teammate of Metzner, and James is only half a second behind here. So Julian Metzner leads the way ahead of Jack James' teammate. Quinton Verdonk is 3rd, 4.5 seconds back, and will be wanting to do something about pulling his way up front. There was a change in the GTE lead for 19th position. This is how, if we can get it. Ali Asher, no! Can we not get it here? We might not be able to get it here. No, we just don't get that one, unfortunately, as we were elsewhere when the races were going on. But Ali Afshar moves back into the lead of the GTE field. Adam State back down a second. They're both now in the positions that they started this with. Martin Junk holding on to 3rd position, still in this one down the order. It's looking quite strong at the moment as we are approaching the halfway distance. At the halfway distance, we will catch up with the standings as they are. But it does look like there could potentially be another opportunity for States here. Has either of them come down pit lane? I don't believe so, but I do not have the stints being displayed. Let's see if I can get the stints displayed here so that I'm able to keep better idea of how they are doing out there at the moment. Let's get that one saved up. And I am going to have to reload my timing screen in order to get the information that I want out of this one. But Adam State chasing down Ali Afshar, and the stints are currently running. They are still on their first stints out there, yet to come down pit lane. In fact, the top 11 of the GTE field are yet to come down pit lane, 11 laps for each of them. But across in the LMP1 field, it is starting on the stints for each of those, and it means that Julian Metzner is leading the way after a pit stop here, and it looks like Benjamin Massey has just completed his first lap on that stint. Actually, it looks like Mason and Murphy are completing their first lap, so everyone in the LMP3s have now come down pit lane. Are we going to see the leaders from the GTEs come down pit lane shortly? I don't expect to see them down pit lane, I would say, at least until the halfway stage in this race at the earliest for this one, as Dunn is running around in 8th position. Jan Corbs is running in 7th right now, has a huge recovery to go for after having to come and serve a stop and go penalty, which has thrown him completely down and out the order, which is a real shame. Adam State, though, on the rear end of Ali Afshar, both of them kicking up the grass there, and it looks like I haven't got the custom cameras for the Chevrolet out there, which is a shame, but we're running on board with Adam State chasing down Ali Afshar as it stands. We look back towards Adam State now in 2nd position. This has given State now an opportunity to save a little bit of fuel, just like Afshar did at the early stages of this one. And through the curves we go, and up towards the final chicanes now there. I was just taking a quick moment to have my first sip of drink, and I think it's a perfect time to do that as we approach the halfway stage. At the end of the next lap, we will catch on with the standings that they are in both of the fields at the moment. Jack James running around in 2nd position, trying to chase down Julian Metzner. The gap up to 2 seconds now. Porsche sitting in front of him. James goes to the inside, had to back out just a little bit there, and it continues to help Metzner pull away out front. And Julian doing a great job here to just navigate this traffic as best as he can and really take advantage of how the traffic may affect others, including James right now, who has to back out completely into the chicanes as to not get too close to the Porsche in front of him. Metzner having a car in front of him as well, but it was enough of a gap that he was able to keep up a little bit more speed, and another 0.7 of a second loss for Jack James in 2nd position as we ride once more with Adam State looking up towards Ali Afshar at the front of the GTE field. This is the fight now that we are going to stick with for the time being, because the P1s have opened up just a small amount. Mattila and Dibden are now the ones fighting, as Dibden's made his way past, as Verdonk has made his way past Dibden for 3rd position. But this is the fight at the very front of the field right now, and it is being led by Ali Afshar in 19th overall, leading the GTE field, and started on pole position, lost it down to 2nd behind Adam State, and then it opened up, it swapped around again after Afshar was able to close up what was a significant gap at the front of that field. It closed down once more though, and Afshar were moving back past State after trying to save a little bit of fuel in the early parts of the race. Now it is State's turn to save a little bit of fuel. And as we reach the 45-minute mark in this race, we are going to have a little look at how our standings are halfway through this race. 13 laps being led from our leaders so far, but Julian Metzner is leading the way in the LMP1s ahead of Jack James. It is Verdonk running around in third position. Tony Dibden in fourth ahead of Saul Matilla. Kathleen Florian Mir is running around in sixth position right now ahead of Jan Corbs. Benjamin Massey running around in eighth. Stephen Dunn in ninth. And Jonas Weber is running out your top 10 at the moment. All those within a minute of each other at the moment, which is absolutely crazy to see in such a long race. Andy Bootland also within a minute. He's in 11th. Lewis Mason is running around in 12th right now ahead of Mark Murphy. Lucas Chatterton is running around in 14th just ahead of James Smagglesgale as they were running around on a potential fight between the two of them. Dominic Gallo in 16th ahead of Toby Deck. Flip Van Zyl running around in 18th, and out of this race in your LMP1 field is Riley Pogue, Melvin Gack, and of course Matteo Lemeray, who we caught up on that instant to see how it went for him, and the answer was he decided to go a bit of skate, Tony Hawk skate there, and go across the guardrail. Of course, in your GTE class, it is currently being led by Ali Afshar ahead of Adam State. Martin Junk is holding on to the podium ahead of Luca Monroe, and you can see how those drivers are doing compared to others in the class, but that +1 lap is just because when we got this up on the board, they were a bit further behind around the lap time. They are not a whole lap behind the race leaders. Andrew Pike is running in 5th in that class ahead of Saundar Blau. Ivan Trebetskov is running around in 7th in the GTE field ahead of Jesus Saavedra. Eric Johnson in 9th ahead of Sarah Dove, who's running out the top 10 in the GTE fields as it stands. Vasov runs around in 11th ahead of Chisholm. William Kirtler in 13th. Alexander Yoon runs around in 14th ahead of Gabriel Roop. Gregory Loquette is running around 16th in his home circuit ahead of Andrew Manning, who we have seen having an incident earlier on in this race, going around and hitting the wall ahead of an LMP driver, which means he's a couple of laps down with Matthias Paitinger. Philip Spares is out to visit pit lane, and Mauricio Marquez Ramos also out of this race towards the back as well, which is a shame, along with Jack Southfield, who went out early doors, as we return once more to having a look at the field of drivers they had around. We saw the leaders, whilst we were doing that, it was the leaders of the LMP1 field that was getting past the leaders of this GTE field that is currently going on. So we can keep on going around as we head up towards the chicane along the Mulsanne Straits. We again pass by another LMP1 and heavy onto the brakes from Adam State. They're chasing down Ali Afshar. Afshar now burning more fuel than Jack James, and it's sort of levelling the playing field a little bit. For about half an hour, Afshar was the one saving fuel. State's now the one saving fuel, and just as we have a look at the whole field, in the GTE field, Afshar and States are the only two drivers who are currently holding on to the position in which they started, which is absolutely crazy. In the LMP1 field, the only two drivers doing that are Andy Bootland and Lewis Mason, and they're running around in 11th and 12th in class. But we continue to watch Adam State chasing down Ali Afshar here and heading up once again towards Indianapolis, where we saw that accident. Well, we saw the accident here early doors, then we saw the accident at Indianapolis ahead of the LMP1s, and it's always an interesting thing. You've got the two different classes out there racing. You can come across a lot of interesting things happening with the classes interacting with each other, but they're going about their own races, trying not to lose time on their own battles, but trying also not to hinder other battles. And that's something that we have really seen here tonight. It's not something you see in, you know, just an official or a normal hosted races. Drivers really thinking about the other classes and what they're doing, but we have seen a number of LMP1s sacrifice lap time, sacrifice a gap because they don't want to dive up past the GTE in an uncomfortable point on the circuit or on a point on circuit where it could be risky. And I think that's what's brilliant about league racing. It's what's brilliant that we're seeing out there at the moment in what this isn't even a league race, so let's point that out. This is hosted by a league, of course, but it is just a one-off event, and yet it is still being treated so seriously. It is amazing to see, and right now, this fight for the lead in class is Ali Ashar and Adam States, and let's see if we can get that information up for you, because it's something that we've not got yet as I mess around, because I actually have a little bit more time to mess around in these longer races with some of our information, and it covers up that the standings on the left-hand side just a little bit, but we don't care about that, do we? No, we don't. As we continue to watch around at the moment, and we are just having a look at their lap times. In fact, let's have a look at the fastest versus last lap times from each of them, and you can see how Ali Ashar is doing just enough to stay ahead of Adam State, but State does not really want to make his way through at the moment as they continue to run around. If you are watching over on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You're notified when new videos are posted, when we go live, and to show your support to this stream, make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. And if you want to see more of my commentary and what we do at the Joseph Wright Broadcasting, then head across to the YouTube channel Joseph Wright Broadcasting, which you can find at Joseph Wright TV. And you can also catch up with the extended highlights of all the streams that we do as well. There will be an extended highlight video of tonight's event coming out before the end of 2025. So head across to that YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button so you'll be able to catch that. Right, once more, State is on to the rear of Ali Ashar, but there's not going to be anything happening between them at the moment, as once again Ashar just wanting to save the fuel, State just wanting to save the fuel behind Ashar as we head up towards the end of the Mulsanne Straits. And I believe that was... No, it wasn't. I was about to say I believe that was Mattila getting past. It was not. It was Jonas Webber getting past. It was a second goes a charm. I'm learning liveries tonight, and I managed to pick up that it was Jonas Webber on a second chance of looking at that one. I don't have a track map open with all the numbers because it would have been crazy tonight with 42 drivers, but it is looking like it is relatively settled down out there. I mean, Stephen Dunn is looking to try and get past Benjamin Massey. That's 9th and 10th in the LMP1 field. There could be a potential fight going on for 8th in the GTEs as well, but State continue to follow behind Ali Ashar here as we head up towards the end of the lap. As we continue to head around it, just need to take another drink once more as we're heading up now to about half an hour left in this race. We're almost an hour of our way through already, which is absolutely incredible. Time really does fly when you're having fun, and I hope you guys are having fun watching just as much as I am bringing the event to you here. Le Mans, always an absolutely fantastic circuit, and these LMP1s and GTEs, oh, what a great throwback to get out there and watch as they head around the circuit. And State closes down to about 3.5 tenths of a second as they head towards the final chicane, and we are going to see them both down pit lane. This is going to be crucial. Who is going to come out better out of these two? Are we going to see any speeding penalties from either of them? No, they get onto the brakes, they get their pit limiters activated, and down pit lane now, Ali Ashar and Adam States. They're going to pull across to the right hand side. They're going to be next to each other on the grid, in the pit boxes of course, because they were side by side on the grid. We come down onto the brakes, they both go. Are they going to go up into the air for tyres? No, neither of them getting tyres on their machines. They are only filling fuel. Who is going to get away quicker out of this one? It is genuinely a race on pit lane right now. Who is going to come out on top? Ali Asher or Adam State? State gets away first. State gets away ahead of Ali Asher. And that means Adam State will be leading the GTE field following the pit stops. Ali Asher will now have work to do. Down in second, almost 2 seconds between them as the drivers behind, as the GTE field come in after 55 minutes of racing. They're all going to be coming down a pit lane at the end of their 14th lap of asking. As this is Artem Vasov coming down. I will eventually get your name correct, Artem, as he comes down into pit lane to serve his pit stop as well as we come now. That is going to indicate we're coming up towards the end of the race, really. Those GTEs getting in those pit stops. It's going to be interesting to see what the gap might be between State and Asher as the race continues, as Verdonk is doing his best to close up towards Jack James, who is running second in class. James has lost time to Julian Metzner. We saw him starting to lose time with the traffic. He has lost even more here. The gap is 4 seconds for Julian Metzner out at the front of this field with 35 minutes remaining. We're looking at about 11 more laps of racing action in the LMP1 field, as Adam State does maintain a nice comfortable gap over Ali Asher, but we have seen a 2-second gap between them before, and Asher was able to close that one down. So it does not mean from any in any way that that's the fight for the lead over, because Asher was able to have that pace earlier on in the race. And was that potentially the reason, as Asher goes deep and into the gravel? Not what the Ferrari needs. He gets it back onto the racing surface, but loses an additional 1.5, almost 2 seconds to Adam State there. That's not what the man running around in second would have been hoping for, but is his extra speed that he showed earlier on potentially the reason he had a slightly longer pit stop, or has he fueled up just that additional lap, that one extra lap? And if that's the case, how is that going to affect Adam State and Ali Asher's battle going into the end of this one? Because it's a potential for Adam State, if he's filled up one less lap, he could run out of fuel at the end of this one. But it's going to be interesting to see how they run around, but we will keep an eye out on this chase that is ongoing, of course, as we jump across back towards the LMP1 field and seeing how they're getting on, including Jan Corbs, who was leading this race until a pit stop, getting a black flag, which was from speeding in pit lane, if we are correct in thinking on that one, and then having to come back down pit lane to do a stop and go. Let's see if we... No, I'm trying to find out where it was now. Weber actually received a meatball flag earlier in the race, which I just noticed. So, yeah, just trying to catch a couple of these things that are going on right now. And at the moment, I am trying to find if we have any record of that black flag being picked up as we watch Jan Corbs running around. It looks like we can quickly have a look at how that black flag was picked up in that one. It was on his way into pit lane. We saw it. It just sped that little extra point. Did you see it? Where he just went just a little bit quicker. Listen. Just for a moment there, the engine picked up But it did look like he was on. Was he not on? No, just not on that limiter. That's where he got the speeding penalty from. He then had to serve that penalty before he was able to come back out again, and that's where that happened for Jean Corbs. And as we say that, this is live. This is live watching Jean Corbs right now. He returns back to pit lane, this time making sure he's got the limiter on. So as we watch that, that was a entry to pit lane for a second stop here then for Jean Corbs, and it will be his stop to take him to the end of the race. It is a slightly alternate strategy here from Corbs, who is looking to try and do something with a race that has fallen apart. What was in the palm of his hands is no longer in the palm of his hands. He's stopped. Let's see how long it's going to be for Jean Corbs. As we just pop along and see if we can get some information about that pit stop for Corbs. So I don't think we are going to be able to. I was trying to mess around with some things as always, and it looks like it just does not want to display, which is lovely. I like trying things out. There we go. A 28.4 down stopped for Jean Corbs. Will come out of pit lane and we'll get back out onto the racing surface with a nice timed pit stop there. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do, and it sort of worked until it didn't work, as we have once again a jump back towards the front of the LMP1 field, because it is Julian Metzner who inherited the race lead from Jean Corbs, but by no means was out of the fight with Corbs, because even without the penalty, Metzner was right on the rear bumper of Corbs all the way until they pitted. So Metzner here doing a fantastic job to lead the way, and has gained a 5.5 second gap to Jack James right now, as Lucas Chatterton running around in 14th position. We got 17 LMP1s still running in this race. 4 LMP1s out of it, as Flip Van Zyl is the last of the LMP1s to be lapping right now, as we're going to have a look at Manning, see if any of the other drivers behind jump up, and they are not. It looks like we've got 5 GTEs out of this one. So out of the race in your P1 category is Lemeray, Gak, Pogue and Gallo. And then out in your GTE field, we've got Southfield, Marquez, Ramos, Spez, Pintinger and Roop, all out in that field as well. So a number of cars out in both fields. It's been a long one, but we've still got 17 P1s racing around there, 16 GTEs. There are still 2 very, very full fields as they run around, and it looks like, oh, I was told something happened to Ivan Trebet. It looks like it just happened to my timing screen, because that's what it likes to do, is when drivers disappear off of my timing screen, it likes to say they crashed. Oh my word! Wowzers, that was close for James there. Almost the end of the race for the man in P2. Let's have another watch of that. On board with the number 33 machine, it's GTE, the Porsche. He stays in the middle, he goes to the left. The Porsche just holding the middle of the circuit. The moment James picks his direction, that Porsche moves across to the left as Ali Afshar has received the meatball flag. Ali Afshar, fighting for the lead, spins on his own. And Ali Afshar will get that car facing the right way, but huge damage for Ali Afshar, the man who was battling with Adam State. And he is down and out of this one. just a mistake on his own, and it promotes Martin Junk up into second position, just ahead of his teammate Sean Chisholm, 1.7 seconds down, who now moves on to the podium. What a massive change around, with 25 minutes left on the board now. Julian Metzner leads the overall race. Adam State leads the GTE race. Verdonk 1 seconds behind James now. We ride on board with Quinton, who sits in third, looking to try and potentially take second away from Jack James. James now 7.7 seconds behind Julian Metzner, who is just flying out the front of this race. Jean Corbs running around in about 11th position after his second stop in this race. There's an earlier stop, and it is going to... Oh, I thought that was about to be Verdonk coming down pit lane. He doesn't. He just opening up the radius of the chicanes as he's pushing to try and close up to Jack James across the timing lane. Goes Quentin Verdonk here. As Jean Corbs look like potentially trying to catch up to Lewis Mason as well. That'll be to return into a top 10 in this race if he is able to keep it all together right now. Looks to the right hand side of the I've forgotten the name of the car, the Ford. I believe that was of Sarah Dove, actually. It was of Sarah Dove in the 177 machine. As Corbs continues to head around, Lucas Chatterton has picked up a black flag. So Lucas Chatterton is going to need to now visit pit lane and serve that penalty. He was in 50 in class and won't lose too much then with that one, but still a shame as it stands as we jump across to Mattila here, because Mattila's running about 11 seconds on his own here behind Quinton Verdonk. He's got a P1 driver a lap down just ahead of him. He's just having a nice little race out there all by himself. So is Andrew Pike running around in the 45 machine in the Porsche and the GTE. He's sitting in fourth position right now, promoted up there. Only 3 seconds off of a potential podium though, so Pike will be looking to find some time in that Porsche, potentially move up the order, as Corbs has just made his way past Lewis Mason. This is how that occurred out of the final chicane. It's just a great line through the chicane. Looks like a bit of boost there from Jan Corbs, turning up that power, and flies past on the right-hand side in that one as we return to Verdonk in third position, looking to get up the inside of the BMW. 2 seconds between himself and James out in second, I should say, but still trying to do something with this one as James momentarily disappears, but does reappear there. So looking all good, and you can see in the rearview mirrors, can see the lights in the distance, but that is not going to be worrying Jack James at this stage, as we actually, let's go live, I would say, and in all of that. For some reason, we were a little bit behind on our timing. There we go. We'll go back live, and this is Jack James now. Still running around, like I said, with a bit of a gap down to Verdonk. Verdonk now has a Porsche in front of him through the Porsche curves. That is going to slow him down. He has to duck around the outside, but it is going to be an extra 6-7 tenths of a second loss over James right now, and we'll have to try and find a little bit of that time as Lucas Chatterton will come down pit lane to serve the penalty. While he was down pit lane, there is no doubt that he will look at trying to do a pit stop. Do you know what? This might have come from an attempted pit stop last lap. Gregory Lacquette also getting a black flag very recently. I'm trying to see where this black flag appeared for Chatterton as he comes down into the pit lane. I'm just having a flick back down, and here we go. Let's see what happened to Cheddarton here. It looks like it's potentially speeding on the exit for Lucas Cheddarton. Drops down, goes. Is it going to be speeding on the exit? Is it going to be the way he's left the pit lane? It looked like he came off the... Yeah, he came off the limiter just a fraction too soon. And that's what's caused him to go back down pit lane and have to serve that black flag, of which he has sat down, and it'll be a 40-second black flag. And away Lucas Cheddarton goes. So after the pit stop as well, which means that he has to do an entire lap around, go back down pit lane again and try again. Jonas Webber has had to visit pit lane due to a meatball flag, looking now to get past Lewis Mason for 11th position. Does it just before the final chicanes, does that very nicely and moves up into 11th position as it stands. So something going well for Webber at that point, and we will see if we can have a look back and see what happened to Webber earlier in the race to cause that meatball flag, because it sort of almost came out of nowhere for us. See if we can find, actually, we see a meatball flag here. No, this is the one. No, for Jack Southfield, we aren't going to have that replay, unfortunately. I wanted to have that replay and see what happened there. We wouldn't be, or we aren't able to. Where else did this occur? As now it's doing lots of things that I don't want it to do, as it's trying to jump all the way back. I think it's actually just happened too long ago now that we're not able to watch what happened at that stage without the replay spooling on, of course. Just still flying through the list of things that happened, and let's see if we can catch what happened to Webber here. This was how Webber got his meatball flag. This was all the way back on lap number 8, so this was, what, 14 laps ago. But Webber was doing quite well towards the front of the field before this occurred. Oh, no, we won't. We'll just run back live with him. And we won't be able to see what happened there. Again, just a bit too far back, which is a shame. It really, really is a shame, as Arquette got a black flag. Oh, something's happened to Flip Van Zyl. What's happened to Flip Van Zyl very recently? Last lap, in fact. Something has happened to Flip Van Zyl. Is it a mistake on his own? Whoa! That was a big moment into the barrier. What happened there? Let's have another look at that one. Was it contact from behind? I think it might have been contact from behind for Flip Van Zyl. It was a big old whack on the rear, and Flip Van Zyl gets the meatball flag after slamming into the wall. That is a real shame for him. Gregory Larquette also picked up a black flag not too long before that. How did Marquette pick up that black flag? Larquette picked it up out on circuit, so maybe an instant limit here for Larquette in that black flag. As he comes through the first of the chicanes along the Mulsanne. Stays on track there. Where has this black flag been picked up? A potential slowdown, perhaps. It's not been served. It's not gone off the circuit, so that black flag's intriguing me. But he is staying to the left. I can't tell if he's running slowly or not because of the P1s around him. Is it going to be an off track up here? No, it looks really smooth, so I don't know why that's turned into a penalty, but it has turned into a penalty that has now been served as well. So at least that one's done and dusted, as I jump back to have a little look at Sean Chisholm, who has Saunder Blau all over the rear here. This is the fight for 7th in the GTE field. I've just looked back at the time, and do you know what? We've been talking about what's happened in the past for so long. that it's already down to 16 minutes to go here, which is crazy. We're heading up towards the final at 5 laps or so. Black flag for Mark Murphy. Is that down pit lane? I think it is going to be a pit lane black flag once more. Moves to the right to come down pit lane, and is it going to be another not getting onto the limiter? No, on the limiter, but was too fast coming in. A big lockup trying to get it slowed down in time, but a penalty for Mark Murphy speeding down pit lane. It is a very common penalty that we are seeing tonight, and it's one that drivers will be hoping that they don't repeat in the league races. This just one-off races in these old LMP1s and GTEs. As we head through the final chicane, sold up Blau chasing down Sean Crisham here in a fight for what is a fight for 7th position right now. As that last lap, I think, is because Chisholm came out of pit lane, perhaps? Yes, that was Chisholm coming out of pit lane, which is why he's come out ahead of Sander Blau. Blau has done 5 laps on this stint. Chisholm has just completed his first. We should see Chisholm and Blau run to the end now, but you can see that gap increasing as Chisholm just dropping into the clutches of Blau due to the pit stop occurring. As we ride on board, what machine is Blau in? Because it sounds like a lawnmower. It's Sander Blau is in a Porsche. It does not sound great, I will admit. Now I'm not gonna lie and say I like the sound of that machine, because I do not. What I do like the sound of is a battle for 5th position potentially. As this is Saul Matilla running around just ahead of Katalin Florin Miu. It looks like Miu running around actually just behind, a little bit closer than before. I thought it was a swap of positions. It was not. So Miu now right behind Matilla here, looking to try and potentially take 5th position in this race. Last lap, an invalid lap on Matilla's point, but faster that. Matilla looking 0.8 of a second quicker. Matilla looking 0.8 of a quicker second quicker than Miu. Miu looking to try and do something a little bit better here. Both of them are pitting at the end of last lap. So, lap before last actually. So one lap each from their stints. Tony Dibden is the only driver inside the top 5 now not to have put in a lap towards the end of this one. He's on 5 laps this stint though, but I do believe that Dibden, along with Corbs, who's also 5 laps into his stint, will be able to go all the way to the end of this race now on this current strategy, which would give Dibden 4th position. He's 8.5 seconds back on Verdonk here, who's running around in 3rd position, but it's a nice 4th place running for Tony Dibden as it stands, as Smaggersdale here running around in 13th, as it looks like there may have been something going on with Mark Murphy. Trying to catch on what may have happened to Mark Murphy at this point. Has there been an issue, or has it just been a disconnect, potentially still not appearing on my timing screens here as Mark Murphy comes up towards the end of the Mulsanne. Where do things go? Whoa! Mark Murphy running straight off at the end of the Mulsanne there. What happened? I don't know what happened there. There may be some sort of failure for Murphy, who will now be out of the race. But a potential failure for Murphy. Got started. I thought he just full throttled it. He went down on the brakes and then the car started to speed up again. Not too sure what was going on there, but a huge accident for Mark Murphy will take him down and out of the race. 16 LMP1 still in this one. 14 GTEs, as it looks like Andrew Manning is the latest to retire from this one. Ali Ashar has also retired after issues earlier for him, all on his own, spinning around. We have got 10 minutes left to go in this race, and Catalin Florin-Mew was on the rear end of Mattila, but not anymore. That gap has opened up as they've continued on through. Adam State continues to lead the GTE field now a lot more comfortably with Ali Ashar down and out of this race. It means that he has a lead of 50 seconds. Andrew Pike, we talked earlier about Pike moving up into a potential podium if he just keeps it all together. He has kept it all together. He is in third. He's 5.5 seconds behind Junk, but he is 6.5 seconds ahead of Monroe. So this podium could go Andrew Pike's way, which he'll be enjoying for sure. Jean Corbs is running around in 7th position right now, recovering from that stop and go penalty for speeding in pit lane that has caught out a number of drivers out there. He's 23 seconds back on Catalin Florin-Mew, but Mew is holding on to 6th place right now. Pushed it quite hard though, almost into the tyre barrier. Very lucky he didn't, but driver that we haven't really watched since we finished the first stints in the P1s due to Corbs' issue, Julian Metzner. He was on the rear end of Corbs through the first stint. He was right on his rear bumper going into the pit lane, and with the issues for Corbs, it meant that Metzner just benefited out there, but he hasn't just relaxed, he hasn't relented in any way. He has kept on pushing out at the front of this one, and Julian Metzner is 10 minutes away from winning the Christmas. As I try to remember names of things off the top of my head as we have the Christmas event here. It's nice to see that Julian Metzner is only 8 minutes and 40 seconds away now from taking that position in this race and looking to try and win. And well, I say try and win, it's looking like it is going to be a nice dominant win here around the Azz Tech Racing Throwback event of Le Mans, as we get on to yet another new lap, and it's going to be the 26th lap of asking of the expected 29 in this race, which means we're looking at about 4 more laps of asking for Julian Metzner, who comes across the timing line once more. Blau has dropped off of Chisholm. It's about 2 seconds between them now, so we'll still be hoping to try and keep up with that. As Mew scrapes the wall there through the Porsche curves. He's still trying to keep up with Saul Mattila if possible, but Andrew Manning has just been disqualified from this race. I don't know if we're going to be able to see what has caused that instant limit to bring the disqualification. We are not going to be able to see the instant limit on that one, which is a shame, but it means that Manning will join the list of retirees out of this race, leaving 14 GTEs left in this one, 16 LMPs being followed at the rear by Flip Van Zyl, only a lap off of the leader here, and I think in an hour and a half of racing, that is not too bad going as the races stand, and that goes the same for the GTEs as well, with Lequette. Ooh, big old lock up there as we popped on board. Well, we had a look at the number 11 machine, but Lequette running around at the back of the GTE field, also less than a lap off of Adam State. So I think in an hour and a half of racing, the fact that those drivers haven't lost any more than 1 lap is quite something, as Mark Murphy starts to fall down the order, officially 17th position in the race, but out of course of this one. The GTEs should have enough time to get past potentially and not Mark Murphy down to the back of the field, but Mark Murphy at the moment holding 17th overall as James 5.2 seconds off of Metzner, but 5 seconds clear of Quinton Verdonk as well. Toby Dibden in 4th position, a further 6 seconds down at the moment, and Chisholm has fallen behind Blau here. What has happened in this one? It looks like there may have been some sort of issue for Chisholm, because that gap has been quite big as we ride on board. It is a slowdown. It's a slowdown for Chisholm, which has given Blau that overtake there. And now Chisholm is going to have to do something to get back through for 7th position as we ride on the much better sounding BMW. Towards the end of the Molesane here, 5 minutes to go in this race as we get heavy on the brakes now. Battle for 7th and 8th in the GTE class is the Porsche of Sander Blau leading the BMW of Sean Chisholm. A P1 flies past. William Kurtler gets past Alexander Yoon in that fight that's going on as well. As the P1 splitting, going between the GTEs who settle themselves back down onto the racing line once more as we continue to chase down Sander Blau, and that's going to be a lock-up from Blau, and through goes Sean Chisholm. A big mistake there will knock Sander Blau down the position. What could have been a great fight towards the end. It's a lock-up from Blau. Very easy to do through Indianapolis, running over that gravel and having to get back onto the racing surface, dumping a load of gravel on the circuit as he went as well. But a real shame for Sander Blau, who could have potentially held ahead of Sean Chisholm, but it just wasn't meant to be in that one as Julian Metzner continues to head around here. 27th lap of asking. Looking at the timing, it's going to be 28 laps, which means this is the penultimate lap of the race now. It's Julian Metzner leading the way and doing so solidly. 4 seconds ahead of Jack James. If you are watching over on the YouTube for the first time here at the Azz Tech Racing's YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified whenever we are live and have any events going on, but also whenever videos are posted as well. And make sure that you hit that like button so that you are notified when we go live, or hit that like button to show your support. You hit the subscribe button, so let us know when you go live. But to show your support, hit that like button. It really does help out with getting the streams out there and sharing amongst all of wonderful sim racing fans to see what amazing racing can be put on at the Azz Tech Racing League. And this Throwback one-off event really shows that as well, and with the potential of maybe bringing these cars back for a league of their own would be incredible, and the popularity of tonight's event could show something with that as well, as we watch Julian Metzner flashing his lights. He wants these GTEs out of the way. He wants to come around towards the final lap of asking around the Le Mans circuit. It has been an hour and a half of racing, and we are heading up towards the white flag lap as we watch Julian Metzner lead the way in the LMP1s. It is Adam State who was the GTE that Metzner just overtook, and Adam State is doing a great job leading in the GTE field as well. Mistake coming the way of his rival Ali Afshar, which stopped the battle for the lead in the GTE from occurring. It was a great one while it lasted, but Adam State leads the GTE field around. Julian Metzner, though, is going to see that white flag waving as he comes through the chicane for the penultimate time of asking. It has been a very strong race from Julian Metzner as we come across the timing line. Will we see the white flag wave is the real question there. We should, but we don't. I believe this still is the last lap, even though we don't see the white flag waving. at that one. I believe this is still the very last lap of the race. There's no way that we'll get any more in with where Julian Metzner is out on that circuit right now. So Metzner coming around on this final lap of the race and doing a great job, like I said, to not only take the fight to Corbs before his issues, but to be able to hold on out there as well and maintain a very good gap over Jack James, Quinton Verdonk, Tony Dibden, Saul Mattilla. Good, strong drivers out there as well. This has been a very good race for Metzner as we head up towards the first of the chicanes along the Mulsanne. GTE in front of him moves to the left-hand side as Corbs going for the purple lap on the penultimate lap of asking there, as Corbs has made his way past Webber very recently as well for 7th position, with Webber running in 8th position right now. So a couple of changes going on there for Webber and Corbs, so they'll certainly be trying to battle it out. So will Tony Dibden, who is now only 0.7 of a second off of Quinton Verdonk here as we head up towards the second chicane on the Mulsanne. Tony Dibden trying to close in that gap and will do so as the white flag comes out. Verdonk's off the circuit and through goes Tony Dibden for 3rd position. Verdonk is going to be all over the rear, trying to do something. There's major damage for Quinton Verdonk. What has happened for Verdonk? Has it happened earlier in the lap for Quinton Verdonk, which is why that gap's closed down quite so much as it did? Quinton Verdonk has had some major damage. I cannot see anything that popped up saying he had anything more than enough. Jacket is a huge whack onto the wall. A huge whack for Quinton Verdonk. That has caused some major damage here. But Julian Metzner will stay away from any major damage as we head up towards the Porsche curves for the final time here at Le Mans for the ATRL's Christmas Throwback. Julian Metzner starting this race in 2nd. Maintained 2nd until the pit stops. Issues wait in the way of Jan Corbs, but that does not discredit Metzner's dominant drive, over 8 seconds clear of Jack James. Metzner will take home the win in the P1s. Mia is close to Mattilla here in a potential fight for 5th in class. Adam State comes around behind. Adam State has had a great race as well. Again, having a fantastic fight all through the first stint with Ali Afshar. A mistake on his own from Afshar sent him spinning into the barriers and out of the race. And Adam State has just remained dominant at the front from there. Adam State will come through to win by 58 seconds. What a drive for the number 18. Adam State comes out of the final chicane to win the GTE field, over a minute clear. Webber, it comes home just behind Jan Corbs. It is not enough to take 7th position, but a win for Julian Metzner, who is out of fuel at the end of this one. Has to get the push from his teammate. Oh no, he's the one pushing his teammate. Of the 33 of Jack James, who came home 2nd, as they go to celebrate. Adam State will celebrate his win in the GTE field. A great, great race for Adam State, and a great race for Julian Metzner, taking wins in their respective classes. As still we have drivers running around. I believe that is everybody now finishing up, as Lewis Mason is chasing down Andy Bootland. Bootland chasing down Stephen Dunn. They'll come home 10th, 11th and 12th position in class. As Adam State celebrates once more in this one, and a great race of asking in all of that. 90 minutes of racing come to a close here at Le Mans. It is won in the GTE field by Adam State. It is won in the LMP1 field by Julian Metzner. And with that all being said and done, it is time to have a look at the full race results here at the ATRL Christmas Le Mans Throwback. With the LMP1s, Julian Metzner comes home victor ahead of Jack James. Tony Dibben came home in third ahead of Quinton Verdonk. Saul Matilla crossed the line in fifth. Catalin Florin Miu in sixth. Jan Corbs came home in seventh position ahead of Jonas Weber. Benjamin Massey came home in ninth, and Stephen Dunn rounded out the top 10. Andy Bootland came home in 11th ahead of Lewis Mason. James Smaggersgale came home the first of those, a lap down ahead of Toby Deck and Lucas Chatterton. And Flip Van Zyl rounded out your drivers in your LMP1 field to finish the race. Out was Mark Murphy, Dominic Gallo, Riley Pogue, Melvin Gack and Matteo Lemeray. In our GTE field, it was a win, of course, for Adam State ahead of Martin Junk. It was Andrew Pike who took home the podium ahead of Luca Monroe. Sarah Dove came home to take home fifth, just ahead of Jesus Saavedra. It was Sean Chisholm who came home in seventh ahead of Saundra Blau. Ninth to Ivan Trebeskov, and 10th was Eric Johansson. 11th position was Artem Vasov, and the last driver on the lead lap of the GTE field, it was Alexander Yoon, a lap down, along with William Kirtler and Gregoire Lequette. Out of the race was Andrew Manning, the second, Ali Asher, Gabriel Roop, Matthias Paintinger, Philip Spez, Mauricio Marquez Ramos, and at the back, Jack Southfield. And then right at the beginning of the race, Aidan Coleman as well, retiring from that one. Didn't actually get started from Coleman in the GTE field. What a race that was on offer. An absolutely fantastic one for sure, and 90 minutes of racing action around Le Mans is always interesting, and it creates some absolutely brilliant racing. So I hope you have enjoyed that one, and we're done here for the night, but lots of interesting fights going on up and down the field. Some great moments throughout the race as well. It was incredible to watch from the commentary booth for the what is my first on not only the circuit, not only the cars, but on an endurance race as a whole, with an hour and a half. It's taken that endurance vibe, pit stops involved in that one as well. It was great to have that whole other aspect included in this one, but that is the race is over. The race over and done with here tonight, and it means that we head towards Christmas now with a great race behind us. So I hope you do have a fantastic Christmas break, of course, celebrating whatever it is you're doing, getting down onto the tracks if you really want to, because well, you might want to in those in the iRacing surface. So it's been an absolute fantastic one, of course, as always. And if you want to get involved with this sort of stuff, these sort of races, then make sure you head across to the Azz Tech Racing League's Discord channel as well. Make sure, as I said before, you are subscribing to the YouTube channel over here. We will have the extended highlights coming your way very, very shortly as well, before the end of the year. So if you don't have time to sit and watch the whole 90 minutes, you'll be able to catch up with the highlights. They'll be up over on the Joseph Wright Broadcasting's YouTube channel, which you can find at Joseph Wright TV. And it is going to be a great way to end off. We will catch up with a couple of drivers then who have taken part in tonight's event. And the first driver that we are going to pull across into the booth here was Shaul Matilla, who came home, took home 5th in that race. It was a very close fight a number of times towards the front of that one. Talk it through your perspective.
Well, obviously, I had that very scary incident at the very start of the race where I completely lost the rear on cold tires. That put me through the gravel trap, so that was a bit of a shake-up for the start of the race. But then just got into a good rhythm, matched the race pace with the others, fell a bit off in the second stint, and it was just a case of taking it home from there.
Well, it was, you had the first stint in particular, the front of the field. You were all very, very close together. You were working your way up there and coming home to finish in the top 5. There were a lot of penalties coming down pit lane, a lot of drivers speeding in pit lane. It caught out the race leader, of course. It promoted you up. Were you a bit worried coming to pit lane because of that?
No, I actually wasn't sure what was going on around me. I was just focused on my own race, making sure I don't get any penalties myself, and that ended up working out quite well.
I mean, that's exactly the way you should do it. Focus on your own race. And it meant that you came home in a 5th position very nicely indeed. You were able to keep Catalin behind you, of course, very close towards the last stage of that race. Were you, again, at that point, focusing on your own race, or were you looking a bit in your rearview mirror, seeing where Miyu might have gone?
At the end of the race, when you have a car that close, you can't help but look a bit in the mirrors. But yeah, obviously just focusing on running my own race. My team had a few other entries there, so they were helping me out a bit with a bit of slipstream down the straight. So big thank you to specifically Toby there, who helped me out during the race.
Created some great, well, allowed you to have some good battles, allowed you to move up the order. So a great race for you and a great race. Well done. Is it time to relax for the Christmas break, or are you going to be back on the rig before Christmas anyway?
We'll see. Sim racing is a big passion of mine, so I think I'll be back as soon as tomorrow.
It's lovely to hear that. Well done again on your result, and hopefully we'll be talking again in a league in the future.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you so much. That was Matilla there, coming home in 5th position in that one. We are going to pull across James Smagasgale in the next one. This is a driver who didn't have the race that he probably would have been hoping for, coming having to pit for repairs early on. Returning up to 13th position, though. Talk us through your race, James.
Yeah. Not the ideal race for me, but I hanged with the leaders there for the last couple of laps, so I was able to at least prove my point that I can drive, at least when I want to. But yeah, no, I unfortunately spun out on my own. The one person I had behind me that I should be trusting in this race, the one teammate I have technically in LMP1s, was the one person I saw sort of jolt to the inside, and I kind of craps myself in front of him and then binned it on my own. But yeah, then I got taken out that same lap at the chicane. I haven't actually watched it back. I think the guy just binned it either coming in or just looped it through the chicane, and yeah, had unfortunately just ended up in my path. So yeah, came in with damage, had to tow as well, so lost another 30 seconds because of that, because my car literally wouldn't turn left, so I couldn't get it into the pit lane. And then yeah, drove around basically on my own, but it was good fun anyway. These cars are good fun to drive, and obviously this track as well is just brilliant.
It certainly is a great combination, really is a throwback to a time in which I love to watch Le Mans. And there were a lot of drivers having issues coming down into pit lane with getting their pit limiters on and getting themselves slowed down. Were you worried at any point about speeding in pit lane? Because I think we saw about 4 or 5 penalties because of that.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I didn't myself. However, yeah, I wasn't quite sure. I'd done one pit lane entry practice and it was a bit iffy, so I wasn't fully sure on how late you can brake. But I guess whether those people are also having lockups or whatever, or just forgetting to put the button on, easily done.
Wow, and not a race that you would have wanted out of it, James. As you said, it was great fun with these cars, the LMP1s and the GTEs, and it'll be a hope that we see them in the future. Very popular tonight, so maybe a return onto the track for a league next year.
Yeah, possibly. I think those who are watching should keep their eyes peeled for a series, maybe. Maybe. Who knows? I'm not to confirm. Coming in the next couple of days, which yeah, will be good fun to start the next year. There's obviously quite a lot of interest in this as a set of cars racing against each other, and then the tracks as well as the series. But yeah, it's been just to round out as well. It's been a great year for us as a league, as a team. So yeah, it was a nice evening to finish that off.
A very nice evening to finish it indeed, James. So thank you so much for popping into the commentary booth and talking to us there. And I hope you have a brilliant Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
And that was James Magasgale there, who came home in 13th position in class. We are going to talk to the man of the hour in that one, because he came home with a very, very good result. What could have been a second position, but taking advantage. But again, I say it's not just about the unfortunate luck to the others. You showed amazing pace out there, Julian, and you came home to win by almost 9 seconds by the end of it. Talk us through it.
I mean, I really tried to just not do anything stupid, for example, killing GTEs or stuff like that. So I was managing more mainly rather than having big pace.
Well, you showed good pace. You were on the back end of Jean, obviously, through the first stint before he picked up the penalty, and he went for speeding into pit lane. How were you feeling in that first stint, running really, really close to Jean? I was debating whether you were trying to fuel save or not, sticking behind. Was that your plan?
My plan mainly was just like saving energy behind him. Not fuel saving particularly, but we were also in a VC, so it was like we were talking with each other, and I didn't need to lead at that point in my head at least, so I was just staying behind him.
Wow, you had a very, very good and strong race there in the P1s. Is it a car that you enjoy driving? You've got practice driving, or is it one that you've picked up and you just found the hang of it?
I've picked it up in November, did like a few laps on it just because of this race. Actually, I picked it up, and I did probably 20 laps of practice and then went into here. Didn't expect loads of stuff, but worked out quite well, I guess.
That's worked out incredibly well to pick it up straight away before this event, and then just put in the 20 laps of practice, which is less than a race length worth of practice, and you still managed to find that amount of speed. And in the YouTube chat at the beginning during qualifying, the speed up there at the front was just absolutely mind-blowing. They couldn't believe it, and you were one of those, of course, at the front. So you showed a lot of pace, and you came out with a victory. So what a way to end 2025 with a nice win before Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. I've not won a lot this year, so I'm quite happy. And thanks for hosting the race to all of the staff and stuff.
Wow, well done, Julian, with that one, with your victory, and have a brilliant Christmas.
You too. Thank you.
Julian Metzner there, coming home to win all of that one. And then we're going to pull in Luca Monroe, who came home in 4th position in the GTE field. And it could have been a little bit more, but at the same time, it was a very, very strong result by the end of it, Luca.
Yeah, indeed, definitely. I'd got overtaken in the pits by Andrew Pike, and I tried to stay with him, getting in the slipstream. Then I had a little spin. Well, I wouldn't say a full spin at least, but I lost a lot of time, and then I just didn't have the pace. But yeah, and then it would have ended up being a podium if I had managed to not screw up there. But I will very happily take 4th in this field of very high caliber drivers.
Very high caliber drivers, a lot of cars going out as well, so making to the end of this 90-minute race was a feat in itself. As you say, you were in the opportunity for a podium at that point that it came to you. What were you thinking? Because it was obviously a battle at the front that ended up going the wrong way for Afshar. So when you were suddenly in that opportunity, what were you thinking?
Well, I was just kind of trying to get through it. The way that these GTE cars need to be driven is unlike anything I've really ever driven on iRacing before. They are such a treat. I was saying in the voice chat that I ruined the fact that I didn't sign up to iRacing sooner because I missed the point in which these GTE cars were like in endurance races, proper ones, you know, special events and all that. I joined iRacing despite the fact that I've been writing for Overtake GG since about middle of 2021. I've actually only just been sim racing myself since the start of 2023, and I really relish a lot of the challenges that come with the with so many different cars. I value a lot versatility with cars, sorry. And these GTE cars are just a complete and utter joy to drive. So even though I did miss out on the podium, I'm still very happy that I committed to this event. Although I'm absolutely tired out of my mind because I woke up before 8 a.m. to watch the Gran Turismo World Series Manufacturers Cup Grand Final. And now I'm going to have to go to bed soon and wake up in time for the Nations Cup at 6 a.m. So I'm going to be very sleep deprived tomorrow, I'm sure.
Well, sleep deprived, but had an evening full of fun. It balances itself out, I'm sure, there, Luca. What an evening, though, and a nice way to end the year as well as we head up towards Christmas.
Yeah, very much indeed. Thank you very much for hosting the event, guys.
Indeed, very much, very good job, and have a great Christmas there, Luca.
Thank you very much. You too.
Luca Monroe coming home fourth. Could have taken that podium, but not quite close enough at the end of it. We will call it here then around the Le Mans circuit as we look at the beautiful Dunlop chicane. I hope you have enjoyed catching the broadcast for this one. As you heard, there could be some potential information about a possible league with these lovely machines going into 2026. So head across to the Azz Tech Racing Discord so you can find out a little bit more about that and get involved in all the other leagues that occur over there as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on the YouTube channel so you're notified when we go live and videos are posted and all of that wonderful stuff. And make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the live stream today so you can show your support, and it really does help out with getting the channel known a little bit more around as well, and the videos promoted on YouTube. If you want to catch up with the extended highlights, they'll be out before the end of 2025 over on the Joseph Wright Broadcasting YouTube channel, which you can find at Joseph Wright TV. Until then, though, I really hope you have a fantastic Christmas and you have a wonderful New Year's celebrations as well, and I hope you have fun whatever it is you're going to be doing, sim racing or not sim racing, over the winter period. So thank you so much for watching here tonight at the Azz Tech Racing League, and from me, Joseph Wright, at Joseph Wright Broadcasting, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.